Hello everybody, goeienaand, welcome, siyabonga, alle goeie dinge. Let me just, jeepers, I look scruffy tonight. How have all of you good folks been doing? I hope you had a lekker weekend. I'm freezing to death where I am at the moment. It's snowing and it's going to snow again and it's just generally cold, which is fine. I mean, we haven't had a decent winter in the Cape in a long, long time. And as of tomorrow, our malevolent overlords have graced us with the freedom to go buy cigarettes and alcohol again. We've only lost, what was it, 100 million rand a day in sin taxes for every day of the ban. That's approximately 50 million rand a day on cigarettes and 50 million rand a day on alcohol. That's a huge amount of money that would have gone to SARS. I mean, not that SARS deserves it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a big fan of the South African Revenue Service. I think they're a bunch of assholes who lay claim to money that wasn't theirs in the first place. They lay claim to productivity that wasn't theirs to lay claim to in the first place. But that's the way that cookie crumbles. So, taxation is theft and all that good stuff. But all that money is just MIA. And I can tell you where it did go. So... hello everyone. There's also a lot of comments. I'm gonna get through all of them in a minute. Oh gosh, why is there we go. I had to stamp my feet, my light goes back on. So all that money, that 100 million a day in sin taxes, didn't go to SARS but was diverted. Where was it diverted to? I'm going to give you a couple of guesses. But Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma has connections with the criminal underworld, especially the cigarette manufacturers, the so-called illegal cigarette manufacturers. The only thing that makes these cigarettes illegal is the fact that they don't pay tax when they're sold. So that money is going to, oh gosh, okay, Mareike. Hello, I must read my WhatsApps. This is a Whiskey Friday WhatsApp group, isn't it? Where we're discussing our ideas for the upcoming one. I shall indeed read it, ma'am. So, where was I going with this? The so-called syntaxes. So they get funneled to Latulie House. So people pay overinflated prices for lower quality cigarettes and alcohol, and these funds are just diverted, part of them, to Latulie House. So in essence, the ANC is funded with their bans on alcohol and cigarette sales. They funded criminal industry, and they probably funded terrorism as well, organized crime and terrorism. You'd think that Interpol and the International Criminal Court and a whole bunch of other international authorities would have taken some serious interest in this kind of stuff and would have probably by now said, okay, we need to issue a red notice. Gentle Inflatables, special good evening to you. I managed to finally, Gentle Inflatables and JC McFarlane were the two winners of two Paratus caps like several Whiskey Fridays ago. I managed to get JC's one to him in Stellenbosch this weekend. I will track you down and get yours to you this week, ma'am. Hello, Zark, the man behind New Damage Eyewear, who so kindly sent me a pair of his really awesome, amazing sunglasses. I do recommend going to check them out. Hello, everybody in the comment section. Literally all 100 of you. That's very awesome turnout tonight. For Pete's sake, it feels like I'm being load shed. Mareike says yes, because come on, hang on a sec. Let me just maybe if I smack my, just give me a sec. I need to play dirty with the lamp. Come out, there we go. Otherwise, you can quite literally not see me. Which is not good. Sy het inderdaad gepraat. When Mareike speaks, when Madam President speaks, I listen. I was about to say, Rick, the exact same thing. But I think there's something legit behind Gentle Inflatables. I don't know. Pule, please come visit at CHS if you want again. But yeah, we definitely need to organize you with a hoodie. Beverly, goeienaand, good evening. And so I'm basically just hanging out with you guys for an hour. So please have at me in the comments section. This is my second glass of wine, since I don't need to be particularly spaarsamig anymore. Even though I am inhibited from buying alcohol due to finances more than the ban, I've decided, it's time to crack open a decent bottle of red for a change. Yes. Referring to, of course, to the Jeremy and Roman style of ring light, not the proctologist style of ring light. That's not really my style, but yes. Dit is ook vrek uit hierso daar, David, in my moeren. Beth, good evening, and my usual shout out to Beth. Okay, I can't put hang on. If I put my foot down on the carpet, the light goes out. And even if I don't, the light goes out. Beth is Eleutheria, awesome channel. Please subscribe to her. And I apologize for the strobe lighting. I do need a ring light. This is actually quite bloody embarrassing. I don't know why it's tormenting me this way. It's just today's been a day of technical problems and fuck ups of all sorts. But at least all the merchandise that people bought from me shipped. So there is that. It's going to be one of those streams tonight. But anyway, thank you for bearing with me, folks. Thank you. There you go, Rick. It's nothing dirty. Gentle inflatables. Hello, Laurie. Good to see you here. And Nico, Chris Harting, net weer. Them is Ricking numbers. Oh yeah. I know, but we'll bump those up. Hello, Daniel. Hello, everybody. I'm at CHS again Thursday and Friday. I might be leaving early a bit on Friday because actually going away for the weekend, supporting some of the lodges and stuff that really deserve some decent money. And my caravan is packing up, the one that I'm streaming from. Its lighting is completely poked, and I don't know why that is. It's goeienaand, jy moet groter vele. So what I did, let me tell you the tragic tale behind the hoodies. So I ordered I ordered 100 of them. I didn't know they're not quite Wuhan sizes, but they're not big. I'm wearing a medium, and they're a bit tight. So for the bigger gents, which is kind of most of my demographic, who I'm probably selling to, 3XL is going to be the way to go. And there weren't sufficient 3XL when I made it, and I didn't think it was necessary. What a mistake. So I ordered a whole smack load of 3XL, paid for them. They'll hopefully be here soon. So I'll just keep everyone updated. Thank you so much for being patient with me. I guess I'm learning the shit as I go, but at least they're shipping and people are getting them. Pierre, thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoy your product, and thank you for supporting me and my brand by buying my merchandise. I shipped so many. I think I shipped like 16 or 20 hoodies just over the weekend. It was ridiculous. I'm not complaining. Definitely not. We are definitely doubling down, and thank you for the hug. I saw that, Southern Metalhead. Really appreciate it. Waiting to find an FN Scar. Okay, so Cameron, I saw one. There is an FN Scar, or there was one in stock at Euro Optics in Stellenbosch. Give them a call. Find out if they still have it. They're not cheap. You're talking about a 190,000 Rand rifle. I also saw, I may or may not have seen, an HK416 civilian version of the 416. No, not the MR223, not the MR556, an actual HK416 in semi-auto. That was 180-something thousand Rand rifle at the time. It's not entirely unobtainium, but it's considerably out of my price range, unfortunately. But I would go there. I'm glad, Marauder, you like the cap. I went higher quality for a reason, and I really don't regret it. There's a new run coming in with the caps. They're going to be charcoal in color and some black. They didn't have enough black, so we did a quick redesign mock-up on charcoal to see if it would work, and it actually looks really sweet. So I'm quite excited to see how they're going to turn out. And a lot of hunters came and said they'd really love a Paratus type design in olive drab, because that's just like a color that they would wear in the veld and the bush. And we're just working on a way to make it look nice, because it can't be it has to be a new design. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can do with olive drab, because it's an interesting color to work with. And if you guys have any ideas, suggestions, recommendations, or telling me it's a terrible fucking idea, please let me know. I tend to listen to what you say. I try to. Um, yeah, or please send us your lawnmower and gun pics when you can. Michael, good evening, sir. Good to see you here. Yeah, hunters do love olive drab, and I can't, if that's what people want, that's what they will get. Yep, there is probably going to be an FDE version in the future as well. But one product at a time, one thing at a time, as I'm learning the curve here. Matt, we actually have more than I thought. So the Daniel defenses are selling well. There's also, I also saw quite a few Stag arms, lots of Smith & Wesson products. I got a touch, believe it or not, a Cobalt Kinetic, but that's not run of the mill, and I might be allowed to shoot it next week. But that's one of two in SA. And there's a couple of other, there were PWSs in SA a while back. And yeah, at one stage we had Colt quite prolifically. I don't know if Colt is still imported or not. I've actually kind of lost touch. Someone in the in the comments can correct me. I do listen. I can sometimes reply in here. Fuck, sometimes. I do hike, Carl. Not as much as I'd like, but I do enjoy. I've always wanted to do the Otter Trail. It was one of the things I always wanted to do since I've been an adolescent. Never quite got to it. So I would still love to at some point do the Otter, and I love mountain hikes. I do. So yes, sure. That was a very long way of just saying yes. If you shoot your FDE P10C and you wear Broadus FDE cap, it'll give you plus 10%. Yeah, because now you've got a set item. You see, Charles. Yes, absolutely. CHS doesn't really carry stock, but they can get what you want. So you tell them what you want, and they get in touch with the agent. So lots of Smith & Wessons, M&P Sports, M&P 15. 22s, which I know is a 0.22 arrow, but still. Seen quite a few Daniel defenses. I've seen a few Stags lying around, and a couple of other interesting odds and ends. So you tell us what you want, Shoal, and we can see if we can get a few. From pilot to fashion designer, amazing. That's one hell of a pivot, hey? I can tell you that, Pule. Didn't quite see that one coming. If you get the hoodie, I have to make an FDE hoodie then. Oh, God. Well, I'll make some FDE t-shirts in summer. How's that? And we'll put some interesting and controversial slogans on them just to make people look. There we go. DPMS. I forgot about DPMS and Savage. They were also in SA. I've seen quite a few of them. Thank you, Heine. Andrea, I would love to do the Otter, as I said. So as soon as time happens, or rather it becomes practical, I'm going to be there. Not really keen to do it in winter. I think I'll do it in spring or summer. Ahmed in Algeria. Good evening, sir. Hello to you as well from the other opposite end of Africa. My hiking backpack is now my bug out bag. Well, you know what? I've always wondered, because we have a lot of hiking outdoor stuff in the CHS bunker, because Venture Forth and Wild Medics are also there, and they stock some pretty interesting mountaineering, hiking, and outdoors equipment. Including a stove that you just use whatever wood you can find. So you can use it for heat. You can use it for boiling water. It takes about, I think, 4 minutes to boil a liter of water. It's not too bad. And we're talking about scrap pieces of wood, and it's not a massive stove. The stove's about that size. And it comes with a charger attached to it, because the smoke and heat turns a turbine, which turns a dynamo, which you can use then to charge a battery or your phone via a USB thing. It's quite cool. But anyway, I looked at all this equipment, and I was like, okay, hiking and outdoors equipment really is survivalist / bug out equipment if the shit really hits the fan, but like catastrophically hits the fan. So I think there's merit to that, definitely. Yeah, I think at one stage someone in SA somewhere has a Noveski. I'm not sure if they really did, or if that was just me having a misimpression of it. But yeah, if you guys can't hold of a Colt LE 6920, get one. They stopped supplying. Oh, jeepers! That's pretty sad that they did. I remember Colt went through a bit of a financial shakeup recently, so it would make sense if there was some sort of issue to that. Thanks, James. Like I said, I'm definitely going to check the Otter out. I can. Well, disclaimer: my license has expired. It has not been renewed. And I'm definitely not current anymore. And I would probably have to do some sort of conversion course or refresher course on whatever airplane there is that people would want me to fly. So I can. I just need to do some work to make that happen. Yeah, they do. DPMS does make a good AR-10 for people who don't understand what that is. The AR-15 is chambered in 223 Remington or 556 millimeter NATO. Whereas the AR-10 is 0.308 or 762 millimeter NATO. So that's the difference. It's the same type of design, but different calibers. Hang on. Do I know how to mow? To be honest, do you mow the grass? I don't have. I don't have grass to mow. The garden I have is more of a shrub and rock garden type thing, which is fine. Very low maintenance, no lawn to mow. But if people want to unleash me on lawn, I'll mow it for a fee, obviously. Okay, cool. So doing an Otter late September is actually good. You see, we do good outdoors recommendations on this channel. I've got an 18. Oh, great. All right. So YouTube's really becoming finally like the main channel for people to watch this on. Gideon, sexy pic for the post, whiskey and the smoke. Mind sending me the picture, please? Okay. Fair point, fair deal. We shall arrange, ma'am. The light is fine. Don't annoy yourself with it as long as the audio is good. Well, cool. Thank you. Look, right now, my little Pixar desk lamp is doing okay. Pretty sure those stoves use thermoelectrics to charge a phone and not moving parts. You might be right. I'll go take a look at it again on Thursday, Friday, and actually send you some pictures of it. And you can, but it's a really cool thing. I'm super impressed with it. I didn't even know these things existed. It just goes to show you when you start working retail, you learn all sorts of interesting things about consumer products. I was blessed with the opportunity to fire a highly legal yet highly fun original stock called M16A1 automatic capable. In a case you did for Lesotho back when. I've never ever been behind the trigger on full auto anything, which I kind of regret. It's something. It's an itch I really need to scratch, and I will most definitely try and do that at some point, even if I have to go to Las Vegas for it. But somehow I will manage to go. Get behind a full auto. So on Noveski at Safari and Outdoor in Ravonia, actually a while back, it was 90K at that stage. Yeah, that sounds about correct because Noveskis are incredibly expensive. Alan, goeienaand, edele. Welcome to the Madhouse. Good to see you here as always. You were in line for a Sig Sauer AR, but I forgot about the Sig Sauer one. Sorry, that's another brand. Was in line for the Sig Sauer AR, and then stuff happened, and you ended up with a Gilboa. I don't honestly think there's anything wrong with the Gilboa. If it makes you happy, and if you like shooting with it, and you have fun with it, Marika, then hoi. I actually don't know. Look, to be honest, I can't imagine they're rubbish. I just don't know enough. I'm not going to pretend that I know. So if anyone in the comments has experience with Diamondback, whether good or bad, would you mind letting us know? And we can actually, I can actually learn something myself and hopefully give some decent information. Has anyone seen a Tavor MTAR 21 in South Africa? I think there was a civvy-friendly version of the Tavor that went for sale at somewhere, I think. But I'm speaking under severe correction here, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's at least one floating around somewhere. There was some. Okay, Shoal. I have to. Unfortunately, Sisha is not watching. Otherwise, I would ask for him to just come in. But we'll hopefully still do another stream or a chat soon. But Bianca van Wyk, For those of you who don't know who she is, count yourselves lucky. For those of you who do know who she is, I don't have to explain. But Bianca van Wyk had this issue with Sicily making a pretty cool analogy where he said, the permits are the new 2020 version of the Dompas, and she was going off at him. A couple of woke lefties were going off at him about this, and some other guy said, he's Sicily is trying to get into the club where no one would let him in. So what they essentially are saying is that, Sicily is pandering to white monopoly capital and we're never going to let him into our club. I'm like, okay, that's a kind of racist thing to say, guys, especially if you are a upper middle class white woman and you're talking down to a black guy. And the reason you're talking down to him is because his political opinion differs from yours, i.e. he is not a left-wing activist. Yeah. If you can give me $50, then yes, I will. Thank you. Most definitely take a sip of and it's pretty good stuff. This is from Pearl Mountain in Parel. Awesome wine estate, really cool people who run it. Highly recommend them. And they're not a bunch of idiots like Beierskloof. Is the baby Beretta a good gun for defense? I'm going to have to Google this, Carl, because I'm not exactly... Oh, the baby Beretta. Okay. I'm going to tell you, you can do better for the reason that modern pocket pistols are going to do, unless you're going for something like a Beretta APX, which you're not. We're talking here about the, I think it's the Beretta 950, which, yeah, that's 25 ACP or 22 short. Many years ago, and we're talking here 1960s, 1950s, yes, I would say consider it. But right now, if you're looking for compact and good, Smith & Wesson M&P Shield, Glock 43, Glock 43X, even Glock 48, I would suggest looking at perhaps even the Smith & Wesson M&P 9 compact, which is pretty darn compact. There are a lot of really good options for small pistols, chambered in 9mm Parabellum that will do the job great. And they're not bank breakers. Most of them aren't bank breakers. And it's going to cycle more reliably. It doesn't have a funny ammunition caliber that would be hard to obtain. And it's not going to be expensive to train with. So, and it's definitely going to be more reliable. I can promise you that. Carl, goeienaand, good evening. Jacob from Louisiana, good nights, good evening. So, well, and for your case, it would be good afternoon. We actually don't have a topic at all. We were talking about AR-15s a while back, and maybe you can enlighten us as to Colt not selling certain of the AR-15s in the civilian market anymore. Do you have anything like that going on in the US that you're aware of, being a resident there, or is that something specific to the export market that only affects us? My favorite movie, Shootout. Yeah, the Heat one is insane. I've got a couple of good movie shootouts I really like. I really like the scene in Where Eagles Dare, where Clint Eastwood, well, his character is holding the corridor against the Nazis who are trying to get to them while the other guy is on the radio. That's a pretty good shootout. I like a lot of Clint Eastwood shootouts. I like the one as well. I like pretty much all the grand finale spaghetti western shootouts he's in. Those are the two or the few that spring to mind immediately. So I'm gonna have to think of some more. But like, audience, tell me, like, what is your favorite movie shootout? While we're Bianca von Woke. Bianca van Wyk's husband's life matters. Indeed, they do. Sicily is more welcome in your house of Bianca, and you are coming from Tabazimbi, Mareike. So, yes. Okay, so Beierskloof. Beierskloof has, and just to say, I will most certainly forward you Pearl Mountain's contact details. They're really good people. Beierskloof is owned by a guy called Beierstreeter, and I can't find, but you can Google him. And he had a whole thing a while back where he gifted Cyril Ramaphosa a bottle of wine, and basically it was very sycophantic. he had a whole little ceremony where he stopped short of essentially saying Ramaphosa is like anointed by God to lead South Africa into the new dawn. It was very, very. It made me throw up in my mouth all. And I was just wondering, now with this ban on alcohol that essentially nearly destroyed the wine farms completely, where is Beyers' savior now? Is he going to send St. Cyril another bottle of wine? And the fact that many of his neighbors and other wine estates in the area openly despise the man for, his politics. I'm not a big fan of Beyerskloof because of that. And I'd rather, he makes a fair pinotage, but this one from Pearl Mountain's better. So, no, thank you. I'll just buy my stuff elsewhere. Another thing, Beretta's agent in SA is not particularly good. Now, funny story about this, and this is not the agent's fault. So the South African Police Service ordered a fuck ton of PX4 9mm pistols to replace or add to new service pistol stock. These pistols are still sitting in Italy. They still haven't shipped to South Africa, and I believe, I have it on good authority, it was months, if not years, that they've been in limbo because the agents haven't been paid after procuring the stock. So the pistols aren't coming because the South African government haven't paid for the pistols. So they ordered them. They ordered this whole bunch of PX4s, didn't pay for them. So the pistols are still not here. Michael, regarding home defense, in all shooting ranges, you have to wear eye and ear protection within the home. But what do you do with eyes and ears? Okay, so to be honest, and this is not a stupid question at all, because it's something I used to wonder about a hell of a lot. I'm going to give you a short answer, and then I'm going to elaborate on it a little bit. Short answer is no, you're not going to worry about it, because in that moment, if the threat's that is that real to that extent, ear protection is just something you're going to have to live with. And you're not going to, you might not even hear the shots go off. And I'll tell you why. During my defensive shooting, with the adrenaline dump I got the whole tunnel vision. You read about all the physiological effects of combat and violent encounters and all that. So I got the tunnel vision and I got the auditory exclusion, which means even though I was shooting +P+ Winchester Ranger T out of a HK USP pistol, like right in front of my face, I don't recall hearing the shots going off, nor did my ears ring. I'm sure they did, but I didn't realize they were ringing. I vaguely recall hearing soft popping noises like little balloons popping in the background, but I did not actually hear the shots. So at that point in time, no, you're not going to worry about ear protection. You don't have the luxury to worry about it. And in all honesty, it's not going to be a deciding factor for you. The people you're shooting at might genuinely shit themselves, but you're not, as the shooter yourself, in an ideal environment, it would be great to be kitted out with body armor, ear protection, eye protection, and you're going to nail the perpetrators, but it's not going to go down that way. So don't spend too much time worrying about it. It's one of those things you're going to live with. Jacob, I carried a 32 ACP Beretta Tomcat for years before I bought a real gun. The frame cracked. Jeepers. Okay. You don't hear frames cracking often, but yeah. Carl, okay. Because it's what is available for use. It's my dad's gun, but it hasn't fired in over 2 years. Okay. As a matter of interest, because I never tell people, I will never advise anyone to say no to a free gun. But maybe just give it a good cleaning and a proper mechanical once over to just make sure that it's still, there's no corrosion or damage to any of the important pressure bearing parts and functioning parts. Because, I mean, if it goes bang and a spring breaks or or some moving part fails, that's not going to cause injury to you. But if there's a part of it that actually blows up, just be a little bit careful. Hi, Linda. And you asked me about proficiency training, I think. I recall vaguely. If you are the Linda from Krugersdorp, I recommend maybe getting in touch with, I I know they're not in Krugersdorp, they're in Northcliffe, but get in touch with Tac Shack, Paul and Lynette, TACSHAC. I still have them on a ticker here. There you go. And they will be at least be able to put you in the right point you in the right direction. And yeah, unfortunately, this is kind of the case with Colt from what I've gathered speaking to people that they're not particularly one of our friends. Colonel Jeff Cooper said, if you carry a gun in 6.35 millimeter, don't carry it one up. If it drops and shoots on accident, the bullet will anger them more than it. That's actually a very good soundbite. Excellent, Kyle, and welcome to the club, and thank you for taking on this responsibility and wanting to be part of this community and asking questions. And here's my thing: I'm not the guy that's going to ridicule you for asking any types of questions, even if you think it's a stupid question. Ultimately, if you don't know anything about guns, you don't fucking know anything about guns. It's like my knowledge about boats and boating, or my knowledge about plumbing, or my knowledge about I don't know. I'm trying to think of something. Civil engineering. I don't know. I don't know these things, and I've got a whole bunch of questions about those subjects that I might think are stupid. But ultimately, if I don't ask them, I will never, ever, ever improve my level of knowledge. So do ask, and I will do my level best to not lead you down the garden path and give you shit information. I promise. Actually, JD's got a pretty good post here. There's quite a few things that you have to look for in an AR that might come in handy when you're looking to purchase. Check for H on the buffer. It's a heavy buffer. Check whether the bolt carrier and barrel is chrome lined. Check whether the bolt carrier is staked. And last but not least is the weapon MPC tested, which stands for magnetic particle tested. There are only a few companies that test each weapon individually. If you guys are looking for the best budget AR-15, go for Wyndham Weaponry, which is, and then it cuts out. But chrome lining, the importance of chrome lining is it improves barrel life, as well as the life of the parts that are chrome lined. That's essentially it. It's a wear and tear thing. Kylie is asking me Kateri is asking me a good question. On small handguns, you have a Walther 765 PPK, the James Bond gun. And to be honest, there's nothing wrong with that. Please practice with it. Please train with it. Maintain it. I know I'm probably saying things you already do, but if you're going to make this handgun work for you, even though there are better modern options, if this is what you have, make it work for you. Way better than a 5-shot revolver. And I mean, it's a reliable little handgun. Carl, it's my absolute pleasure. Thank you for the super chat. In fact, thank you everyone for their super chats, especially Mareika, who just wanted to shit on me, which I definitely deserved. Matthew, Glock 43 and 43X makes a lot of sense. A Glock 19 is a great middle ground option. It's a Goldbox. So I carry a 19 now. I used to carry the USP. Nothing wrong with the USP. Still have it. 19 is just a lot easier to work, and it doesn't have external safeties for me to get hung up on. It's easy. It's click bang, point and click. My missus has a 43X, which is a super handgun for everyone, not just women. I would love one, but especially for women. And the reason why I say women is this, okay? I've got small hands. Most women have hands similar size to me, even slightly larger. So I know what it's like to have small hands and slightly short fingers. It influences your ability to maintain a proper grip on the frame and may still exercise proper trigger finger control and trigger control itself. So thick double stack frames sometimes present a problem. The cool thing is with the Glock 43 and the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield and the M&P Compact is they single stack frames. So they're narrower. Narrower means short fingers and small hands have an easier time getting to the trigger and manipulating the trigger properly, which means you're shooting it more accurately, you're shooting it more reliably, you're having a better time shooting it and practicing with it, which means you're having more fun, which means you're going to go train more often, and so on and so forth. So that's really, and it's ergonomic, and it's ergonomic to your lifestyle, ergonomic to your physiological differences between men and women, which is great. That's wonderful that that's actually an option. Good evening, Wendy. Sure, the way of the gun is the best gun guy movie of a modern era, without a doubt. And can I confess something horrible? I've never watched it, Charles. I will have to. Carl, it's my pleasure. This is why this channel exists. This is also why my website, my brand exists. It's to help responsible South Africans get legally armed and hopefully give you guys information without forcing you to spend a fuck ton of your own money to try and gain information that really should be easily obtainable in the public domain. Yeah, Talon says it. This is exactly what happens. Thank you, Laurie. There's a whole bunch of you cool people asking people to like the stream. Thank you for asking. There we go. You actually don't hear the shots. Yeah. You thought he was waving. I need to hear your story. Jacob, you must actually let me know if you actually want to be on the stream at some time. I'd love to have you on a live stream and just you and I shooting the breeze and shooting the shit. And it sounds like you've got a hell of a lot of interesting. You actually do. You've already told me a hell of a lot of interesting stories, and it would be awesome to hear you share them. But you let me know if you're comfortable with that. You've got my messaging details, and we'll make it happen. Rosalind, thank you so much for you're going to miss the bootleg wine. Tell you what, I'm sure that you can still ask our favorite estates to sell you some unlabeled wine, and we can all act like it's bootleg. Michael, thank you. That was not necessarily a great answer, but I hope it was a thorough one. So as long as it busted some myths. Jordan, good evening, sir, and Jacques. Thanks, Rian. I appreciate it. May I bring it to you sometime, hearings? Please do. I would love to actually see it, to be honest. I'm never going to say no to touching a classic, if we can put it that way. Oh, you did ask me, but for Kimberley. Okay. This is actually a challenge still. There are definitely some good places in Kimberley where one can do proficiency training. Anyone in the comment section would mind helping out? I can't remember if we helped Linda out, but I'd like to. Hallo Worstier, goeienaand, u edele. When you see this message, you have to say "faktan." Well, there we go. Good evening, Wendy. If Gideon dispenses shit advice with the correctly properly, you will. Fortunately, I've got a whole bunch of really cool, knowledgeable people in my comments always. And Jacob, thanks for the for the $1.99 test. I appreciate it, sir. Vorsi, now the borders are open, hoping that my DFO will click my license card. But to be honest, he really has no excuse not to collect your license card. This is the thing that really yanks my chain, is that cards have been going cross borders forever. He has no reason to not collect it. But anyway, COVID is most the modern excuse for bad service delivery. How would I encourage female gun ownership during Women's Month? Ooh, so many ways. So let me just pause on Renier's good question for a minute, and I'm going to just loop Mareike in here because I know she's watching and she's listening, so I better choose my words carefully. But I've maintained always that a handgun in a 65-kilogram woman's hand, especially if she's trained and she has the right mindset, is an unequal equalizer. If she's trying to defend herself, and will allow her to successfully defend herself against multiple 95-kilogram violent men who are trying to do her harm. So I would say one would have to play towards the benefits of guns in women's hands, that it's a tool of empowerment. It is an unparalleled, unrivaled tool of empowerment. It takes everything that we talk about in female empowerment, and it turns it and it gives it an avatar, a physical manifestation. And that's what I would say is, ladies, a true feminist doesn't expect a man to come save her. A true feminist is empowered to save herself against any man who tries to do her harm. And the modern 9mm, or if you prefer bigger calibers like 10mm ACP, 357 Magnum, 357 SIG, or anything similar, as many women carry and shoot, that's the way to go. So that would be my short answer, but I'm sure we can figure out to expand on that concept. Good evening, Graham. A good place to get competency agter die boereworsgordyn. You are in the northern burbs. I've got some places there. I actually got a list. I'll send it to you tomorrow. I'll make comms and then I'll just send you my list. It's just going to be the easiest, and you can pick and choose or phone them all and find out who's going to give you the better deal. Matthew, I agree on the AR specs mentioned earlier. They should definitely have their bolts and barrels magnetical particle inspected and high pressure inspected. Most of the proper manufacturers do this. They really do. But if someone can tell me if there are AR-15s who are still not chrome lined in their barrels, I'm curious. Please let me know. I'm every law-abiding South African. That's my mission, sir. I'm trying my level best. And Donkey David, I'm indeed enjoying it. It's an awesome pinotage. Nancy Anton, that is cockcode. It is fucking freezing here. Your wife had issues with the Glock 26 with Jan because of her small hands. Okay, so it was. Was it a bit of an issue related to limp wristing or something similar to that, Anton? It sounds like it, because if she fixed her grip and that's sorted it out, then yeah. But yeah, there's a definite. This is again the issue. Lots of women are put off from shooting because many of the modern handgun designs were not ergonomic for their hand sizes, and it made shooting unfun. It didn't facilitate a good time. That's changed, thank God. Cool. Shalbueta is recommending Wildman and Kimberley. That's a good recommendation. Faktan. Everyone wants me to say Faktan. By the way, beste skietklub naby strand. Okay, so there are two in the Helderberg that I recommend. Well, venues, rather. So the one is Somerset West Pistol Club, SWPC. I was a member there for many years. I technically still am. Very good people. Awesome club. I highly recommend you check them out, Anton. But if you just want to go and train and practice, then Gordon's Bay Security's indoor range is a really fantastic facility, and I've used it quite a few times. And I'm sure we can arrange to both of us go, and I can show you around. I really don't mind, since you are on my old stomping grounds. Perfect, we'll make it. I think if it's fashionable flair, I've seen pink guns before. Yeah, there are some pretty cool pink guns. Aziza has a Glock 20 in 10mm auto with a pink slide. It's pretty awesome. Good evening, Mornate. You're waiting for the license for your PX4 Storm full size. Awesome little handgun. Well, not little. It's a proper service pistol. Good choice. Awesome handgun. And yes, I know what everyone says about Beretta support in SA, but the gun itself there's nothing wrong with the PX4. Absolutely nothing. There we go, Beth. I knew I could rely on Beth. Come in here. Take a woman to range for Women's Month. There we go. Definitely think we can arrange that. Linda, thanks. No, I've not found anyone yet, but I did look it up and it seems they're awesome. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the gun pricing is a bit prohibitive, but feel free to get in contact. I know I'm bad with my emails, guys. I'm terrible with my emails. I'm worse with Messenger. That's why I've got Mareike, Rowan, Brian, Aziza, and Jonathan to help me, because I'm just ridiculously bad at this. Heard today that CFR has lost our fourth application. No, man. That's just shocking. That's just a shocking lack of basic administrative justice. So an elderly woman doing a license renewal today. Excellent. I'm glad people are taking this stuff seriously. I love to hear stories like that, Daniel. Thank you. And it just irritates me that we are so grateful to, what's the word? So grateful for people to give stuff back to us. It was never their right to take it away from us in the first place. It was never their place to prohibit it. It was never their place to do this to us, to treat us like naughty school children. I'm not grateful, I'm angry. And unfortunately, a lot of people are grateful. They really enable their own victimhood. They enable their own slavery, and it annoys me so much. It does. And you can, as I said today, we can take all the horses to water, but we can't make them drink, unfortunately. I'm sorry, Mareike. Am I in trouble? I always am. I'm always in trouble with somebody somewhere. That's the norm for me. Indeed, a hashtag our prices must fall. Yeah, Vorstier is asking the critical questions. And it would be my pleasure, Graham. Die pyp is vanaand, het vanaand 'n blaaskans gevat. Maar ek gaan hom definitief môre aand in celebration aan die brandsteek. I'll do another vlog with the pipe out, because those seem to get pretty good traction for some reason. Okay, so it was limp wrist and not pulling the grip into the Weber van. Okay, but that's also a problem of ergonomics, hand size versus frame size. Wendy, that's why I say that a fat chick who can shoot. She will shield you while shooting the shit out of the attackers. My dating apps. This is classic. Love it. Thanks, Wendy. That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Sure, I'll take my fiance and her work friend to the range this weekend. So many smiles, almost didn't mind them shooting. Oh, yeah. I mean, see, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. Oh, dude, I love John Wick. I binge watched at my psychological low point of lockdown. I binge watched all 3 John Wick movies in one night. I can't call it an evening, but I think I started at like 8 in the evening and I finished in the early morning hours because I just couldn't stop. It's typical action movie stuff, guys. I know it's not realistic, but the gunplay and the choreography was just beautiful. It was beautiful to watch. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was so much fun. I moved from the USP for a few reasons. The one was not so much spares availability. I have enough spares to rebuild a whole nother USP, and I mean I've got 2 of them. It's just a much bigger pistol than the Glock, so concealed carrying the USP takes a bit more effort than concealed carrying the Glock 19. I also found that because it's hammerfire with the first shot out of the USP is a double action only pull. The single action on it's sweet. The double action is not so lekker. So what tripped me up on it was I got hung up on the safety and the decocker, even though you are supposed to carry it decocked with the safety off. I find that I'm a good half a second to 0.3 of a second, 0.3 of a second faster with the Glock 19 than I am with the USP. First shot on target easily. So I am definitely, it takes less effort to get you a higher level of speed on target with the 19 for me than it did with the USP. But there's nothing wrong with the USP. Love Heckler & Koch products. You own a P30. P30 is an amazing pistol. Like a big fan of the P30. It's a toss-up for me between the P30 and the P2000, which I'd consider my favorite, more compact Heckler & Koch, because the USP is a massive full-size service pistol. It's a big boy, but the P30 is beautiful and it shoots amazingly. Plenty of ARs on chrome lined or staked on the bolt carrier. Norinka, yeah, Ruger, DPMS stag, and lots more. Wyndham Weaponry has the best budget AR Hellstorm. Okay, there you go, guys. Want to get a budget high quality AR or decent quality AR? Speak to Hellstorm. They've got Wyndham. Hang on a sec. Someone else asked a good question. How do you stop the ban on Section 13 firearms? So we stopped it 2 years ago by getting in the government's face, by getting extremely loud and organizing a mass uproar and outrage against it out of every available channel. And that's essentially how you fight everything to do with guns. Going to the court's one thing. Success isn't guaranteed. The courts are full of shit. They don't always make sensible rulings. like I always say, it's a battle that you don't win in the court of law. It's a battle that you win in the court of public opinion. So that's what we got to do, Jakes, is share it, inform people why it's bullshit, get into all the other juices, so to speak, like cranberries. Just don't let the issue go. Make a public meal out of it all the time. That creates pressure, and politicians hate pressure, and they hate being exposed as being complete fucking idiots, especially if you start framing the issue and you go, well, look, we're the seventh most homicidal nation on earth, and you want to take away self-defense as a reason to own a gun. Why? Like, do you want us to be murdered? This is pro-crime. This is pro-criminal. You're making us all easier targets for criminals. You're a bunch of criminal apologists. You're friends to criminals. You're pro-crime. And you just keep hitting that over and over and over, and you don't let up until they crawl back into their doghouse with their tail between their legs. That's how you deal with it. Thank you, Carla. I appreciate it. And you know what? If I don't go back to flying for whatever reason, then I would have found something else that I really love doing that pays the bills just as well. And to be honest, I'm quite enjoying this. I thank you to everyone who buys my stuff. Like, it was a hugely successful weekend with the hoodies and the caps. So, and I'm working on some other plans. I'm thinking of doing a voluntary subscriber. I'm never going to hide any of my stuff behind a paywall. A voluntary subscriber system for Paratus, probably launching end of the year or next year, but I'm still ironing the kinks out of the ideas, because I would, for example, set a fee that might be a bit high, but I give someone a free piece of merchandise, an exclusive live stream with the subscribers only once a week or once every 2 weeks, do some events with people, and give value back to people who help me keep the brand afloat. That's really what it's about. And then use the time and the money to do cool things for gun rights. That's what it's all about. So there are some plans. They're big. And if people have suggestions, please let me know, because a lot of the stuff that happens and that I implemented are thanks to suggestions from subscribers, viewers, and people who care. And yeah, awesome stuff, Alvain. Arno's an awesome instructor, yeah, and that's good quality training, and that's what we need. This is how you fight back against crime and bullshit. What gets sold out first tomorrow, booze or tobacco? Ooh, I'm going to say tobacco, purely for the fact that the booze guys at least had more time to procure stock, I think, because the tobacco ban was far longer. But I might be horribly wrong. I might be very, very horribly wrong, but there's definitely going to be stuff sold out. Vector, which one? The Vector made some pretty darn good pistols back in the day, except for the CP1, which was a really abortive thing. Didn't sell well, some issues with the design, but they made some pretty good Beretta clones, and they made some pretty decent designs of their own. Unfortunately, they folded, and I don't think there's much support for their pistols anymore. Which is sad, because a lot of guys still have Vectors, but they have to baby them now to make sure that they don't break, which is sad. Yeah, they aren't well supported. I've still managed to find new ones that are brought in grey, because Germany has an export ban of all German arms and ammunition to South Africa. Well, arms to South Africa. So you can find spares and stuff, but highly inflated prices. And not ideal. That's where I did my training as well. I was an old X43 boykie, if you can call it that. 2004 to 2005. That's where I trained. And of course we would, Matthew, because they're awesome pistols. Do I think Keanu showed Taran his precious? That would be Zuck. Who knows? That's for Keanu to know and for the rest of us to find out. Pleasure, Jakes. My absolute pleasure. Yes, excellent stuff, Linda. Like, Arno is severely underrated because his marketing isn't flashy, but his skills, his knowledge, what he gives, the content of his courses are world class, absolutely superb. You can't go wrong. Jay, here's something different to think about. The scout rifle concept. Do people still think about it? And if so, does it have a place in the average South African's toolbox? You know what? This is almost worth a stream on its own because I honestly think it should. Now, for people who don't know what the scout rifle concept is let me actually just read it before I make stuff up. But it's generally Jeff Cooper best defined it as a general purpose rifle that was promoted by Jeff Cooper in the 1980s. And it's essentially typically a bolt action carbine. So it's a shorter barreled, shorter profile rifle than a full size like rifle, usually chambered in .308 and usually weighing less than 3 kilograms. And I honestly think that scout rifles have always had a purpose. I think a reason they kind of went out of fashion is because people think, okay, you can replace the scout rifle concept with an AR-15 these days because the ARs are so modular, or that the U.S. military moved over to DMRs, designated marksman rifles, which kind of aren't the same thing at all. But I suppose there was a bit of there was a mistaken belief, maybe it wasn't a mistaken belief, but I'm going to call it a mistaken belief that the modularity of modern platforms have kind of made the scout rifle obsolete, where I'm like, well, the scout rifle has a very specific purpose, and I don't think you can just dismiss it and replace it with another platform. Helson provides great customer service. Was fortunate to get magazines for the PX4 for them. Excellent, Morna. I'm glad you came. Right, really, really am. Good night to yourself as well, Carl, and hopefully see you soon. Someone said, "Love to me in my small hands." Thank you, Southern Metalhead. Appreciate it. Yeah, Patreon may indeed be an option too. I tried that at the stage. It was just a bit. It wasn't particularly popular. I think it was difficult for people to get into it, but I can always try it again. Can you pay me to come? I'll come ride with you for free, Shoal, for Pete's sake. You know me. Pule, I hope this channel grows to be something big. Well, I hope so too. Look, I'm not going to lie to you. If it doesn't, then it's my fault that it didn't. But I've got a whole bunch of really cool people who are always here. They always support what I do. And you guys always ask really good questions and come up with good topics. So I don't see any reason why it shouldn't. I'm going to keep pushing it. And I'm going to keep putting time aside to I know I do streams with other people. I've got some interesting guests lined up. I'm just waiting for them to confirm times with me. Magnus Haystack really wants to come back and talk economic stuff about how to save your money and your savings and yourself from the economic downturn. And Mike Schisler would love to come back, and I would love to have him back again. And guys like Craig Peterson and so on and so forth. But I also think I need to just spend time with you guys one-on-one, and we just have a chat like this, because I actually really do enjoy this. This is a lot more relaxed. I can sit here and drink my wine and not stress, and it's fun. I actually thoroughly enjoy this. So, but thank you for the awesome support and wishes, Pule. I really do. JD, what is my take on SA not helping in Mozambique as ISIS? As usual, I told South Africa to man up and help. There's also training manuals, elite weapons, ISIS flag. Yeah, okay. So I'll give a brief rundown on it. So I'm acquainted with a guy who's very much into, shall we call it, foreign military contracting. He actually is a supplier to foreign military contracts. His opinion of the South African mercenaries currently involved in Mozambique, and this is a man whose professional opinion I deem highly. He doesn't have particularly good things to say about them. So there is that. The company that's involved there had some connections to the ZANU-PF party as well. They run by ex-Rhodesian, ex-Zimbabweans, but not the time. It's all a bit shady. And so that's not good already. Now, you need to also bear in mind that Mozambique, it's not as simple as saying, okay, it's ISIS in Mozambique. There's a big Renamo versus Frelimo thing that's been ongoing there since the 70s and 80s that never stopped, that's resurged, and this is just a new incarnation of it with an additional fundamentalist Islamic extremist element added in. A year and a half ago, no, even more recently, ISIS in northern Mozambique was just a ragtag bunch of like bandits, really. They escalated already, and they started doing some pretty big things, but no one took it particularly seriously. Now they've completely taken a port city. It's a big thing. Okay, this is not going to be over soon. They're not going to be dislodged easily, and I, honest to God, don't think the South African National Defence Force has the capacity to actually, at the end of any type of extended supply chain, I mean, 2,400 kilometers away from South Africa's borders, to go fight an enemy in a terrain that they're unfamiliar with, where they don't speak the language, where they have questionable local support. The Mozambican security forces themselves haven't proven to be particularly reliable or supportive or competent at all. And if South Africa gets drawn into a conflict with ISIS, that's going to open up the door for terrorist activities within our own borders, because now we're becoming combatants in this. The ANC government and our security forces, I'm firmly of the belief, do not have the capacity to wage any type of serious counterinsurgency war in the north of Mozambique. I might be wrong, but yeah. Gerry, goeienaand, dankie dat jy ingetune het. Gerry is a very good friend of mine. We go way back, and it's awesome to see him on my stream. Goeienaand, meneer. Daniel, yeah, CFA, Central Flying Academy, like those were the bloody days, weren't they? My favorite gun vlogger. And why is it Ian McCullum? How did you know I was going to say Ian McCullum? Although I do like Cole as well. Cole is really good. But another guy I actually recommend people check out is Mr. Guns and Gear. He's just an all-around nice guy. He's obviously American as well, but he's a really nice guy. His heart's in the right place, his head's in the right place. He's pro-freedom. Big fan of him. Really awesome guy. And I mean, he's got a really big channel. He doesn't need me punting him, but still, like, I'm a big fan of him. Can we please legalize miniguns? You bet. And they won't even have to be vehicle mounted. You can walk around with them like the Terminator if you want to. Thank you very much, Wendy. But I have to say a fuck ton of times to correct a clusterfuck of fuck tons. And I just feel like I'm everyone's pet monkey. But sleep tight, have a lucky evening, and thank you for tuning in, ma'am. Thank you, Werner. Appreciate it. What do I think about debating anti-gun folks so much? The thing is, and this is an interesting thing, right? There are some genuine anti-gun folks, but the ones that are genuinely anti-gun that aren't there for political agenda reasons, or that don't live in cloud cuckoo land, I could usually have a reasonable conversation with them and go like, okay, but why do you feel the way you do? And can I tell you why I feel the way I do? And we can usually find some sort of common ground. But as soon as somebody has a political agenda they're driving, because the typical gun-free South Africa person, you can't have a conversation with those people ever, because they're not interested at seeing the other side and trying to convince you. They're like, no, you're bad and evil, and you promote bad and evil things because we are right and you are wrong. And gun-free society is the only society, and this is a utopia, and we don't care if you tell us it's unrealistic. We will force it to exist. That's why it's such a difficult debate, because the people who claim to be the voice of people who are afraid of guns or scared of guns, not convinced, are actually just pro-crime, anti-self-defense, anti-gun weirdos and nutcases that lie and engage in bad faith, and they're not really interested in having a conversation. But if you know any people who have anti-gun sentiments, but that are open to wanting to engage and having like an honest conversation, just like a real honest, I don't come with airs and graces. I will have them on my channel. I'm not going to bully them. I'm not going to berate them for the views. I would love to talk to them. So if there are any anti-gun folks, tell them, take this part of the clip and send it to them and say, I would love to just talk to them. We can have a conversation. They don't have to convince me. I'm not going to be out to convince them. We're just going to chat. And if either of us leave the room at the end of the night with a different opinion, then that's a win. I will definitely look. Like both Mike and Magnus are great people. Like off the internet, they are awesome human beings, as well as highly knowledgeable economists. I've got intense levels of respect for them. They are just awesome. Am I talking about Brian? No. But Brian also knows him. Brian also knows the guy I'm talking about, and I'm not going to out the guy I'm talking about because he is genuinely not. He does nothing illegal, but he also doesn't want his name to circulate out there because he is one of those true silent professionals, and he doesn't. And if you saw him, you wouldn't know he is because he doesn't look the part. He doesn't look like a typical operator. He doesn't talk like a stereotypical like keyboard warrior. But he knows his shit, and when he speaks, I shut up and I listen. Matthew, good trainers and channels to have on YouTube. Raid Henricks, Frank Proctor, definitely. Carl Defoe, Mike Panoni as well. Warrior Poet Gun Talk TV. When are you headed to send the old talkies in there and move them all? So most of the old talkies are, well, a whole bunch of them are in Dubai training the Dubai SWAT team, which is why they won the SWAT games, because incredibly talented men are sitting there, and our South African government refers to them as mercenaries. It's like, well, yeah, this is what happens if you underpay and mistreat your talkie professionals. They go and they do contracts in the Middle East, and all their expertise and talents gives you a winning SWAT team in Dubai. So suck on that, South Africa. SAPS. Mid-90s, we had Pachad, I remember, Planet Hollywood bombings and pipe bombs and all sorts of happy fun shit that no one wants to go back to. Oh my God. How am I not going to get demonetized? The SANDF do not know the barrel from the butt of a rifle, and that is kind of, yeah, it's kind of the truth. Thank you, Heinz. And listen, I sometimes get hung up a little bit on my my vlogs, and I keep them short because I don't have a script. And I've tried doing scripted shows before, and it doesn't work. Like, I just go with the flow. If I miss certain points, I miss them. But I try to keep it as raw and polished and sincere as I can. Some people like it, some don't, but so far so good. So thank you for the compliment, really appreciate it. Shoal said Sage Dynamics on YouTube. Aaron Cohen is the real deal. He is indeed. Good evening, JC, good to see you here. And those conversations never they don't, do they? Anti-gun people just need to go shoot guns and we'll have a change of heart. Indeed, I actually found that a lot of them, once they actually get exposed to what guns really are and what it's about and how it works, what the community is about, their views change. Their views are usually absolute and they don't like being challenged in a public forum. Yeah, that's the other problem. Just in a quick message to personnel regarding the ISIS harbor means free entry of webs process. Next step, Komati Poort. Oh, fuck. Actually, Werner, yeah, I didn't even make that mental leap just yet. I didn't. Look, there's a fair amount of government-controlled territory between Cabo Delgado, and this is in the very north of Cabo Delgado, and Komati Poort. But, I mean, I think we can all judge for ourselves how effective the Mozambique government forces and authorities have been at securing their own real estate, which is, to put it bluntly, demonstrably pathetic. So, yeah, I mean, cross-border flow of military-grade munitions, here we come. By the way, Dlamini Zuma didn't really look excited during a briefing. I'm sure she isn't. She should be bloody grateful, though, because she was about to get ganked in the High Court or the Supreme Court of Appeals for her bullshit, and she was going to be made to look like the right twat that she is. Miss Santha, maak 'n bietjie Afrikaanse video asseblief. Okay, you know what? Just for my mede-Afrikaners, I will, just for the hell of it, because but I will have to get my HAT out because my Afrikaanse woordeskat has taken a bloody nosedive, which is shocking and shameful, and I need to seriously work on that. No smoke sharing, no, apparently not, like because that hasn't been happening the past 5 months. Gunfree says you were there if your gun was stolen using crime. What? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We changed that. We must have our own. We said if you're stolen, amnesty gun was there. So was gun free South Africa because they wanted the amnesty. We told them it was going to be a huge fuck up. Then it turned into a huge fuck up. And now what? Now they like having their bread buttered on both sides. And what a bunch of horrible hypocrites. Can ISIS sell me for a case? He is indeed. He is the man. SA should send the SA updates sort of out the fuzz, just the fuzz to sort out there. Indeed. My HAT, ek dog jy verkoop hulle. No, those are I got it too late, Renier. I'm tired. I was afraid of guns, but the wrong crowd. Yeah, and this is unfortunately something that really happens. The first experience of people being exposed to firearms, sometimes if it's done in a way that's a bit too gung-ho and not well thought through, people who've never been exposed to them, my trick is I use my blue guns, my laser trainer, and I'm in a nice controlled environment where there are no loud noises, and we take them through the basic fundamentals, and by the time we get them on the shooting range, they already understand the concept. They're just going to do it in practice, and it's slow and steady and careful. And as you build someone's confidence with what they're doing with the gun and themselves, then it's not scary, but you just shove someone into it and they're not really sure of it, and you're being dismissive of their fears and emotions, then they're not going to have a good time and they're not going to like guns. And unfortunately, a lot of people do that stuff. So yeah, that's a problem. But I'm glad, Elizma, that got sorted for you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. I shut up now. We can Zols. Yeah. What the heck did you call her? The Pachycephalosaurus, Pachycephalosaurus, something like that. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. I'm not a that thing, that pologist that does dinosaurs. The name escapes me now. I'm having a really good time. Please correct me in the comments. Steenaki, you will be my heart dear. I'm sure you guys will love to correct me while I embarrass myself with my moedertaal. Yes, for the Afrikaans video. Only English words I can pronounce is yes, no, and there we go. You expect that's very punny, Graham. Very punny. Very droll. Isn't there a petition to get Ian in a John Wick movie? There is indeed, actually, and it's on the Forgotten Weapons or In Range TV channel. They actually have a link to it where Ian kind of explains it. So yeah, that's for real. My first exposure to guns been shot 5 times. Jeepers, Joe. I'm sorry to hear that. That's horrendous. I'm glad you're still with us, because getting shot 5 times ain't fun. Look, I unfortunately do not have professional advice about how to get over a horrendous experience like that. I can imagine it would leave more than just physical scars. But if you would like to be exposed to firearms in a controlled and safe environment, let me know and I will make it happen. Paleontologist. That's the one. Thank you, Misanthrope. No, anthropologist is the one that does the people. Konrad Koch of puppet fame. He loves telling people he's an anthropologist when you tell him he's full of shit. For some reason, I don't even know if he really is. But elephant head. Okay, everyone is coming. Thank you for correcting. You see, you guys are awesome. I have an awesome crowd. I can only say I can't speak English in English. Well, we all. It is indeed. It was delayed due to COVID-19, but it's coming, and I can't bloody wait. Small Arms Solutions, awesome. I mean, we're talking other YouTube channels, which are great. Dude, get Joe on the show. I will. Like, I was on Joe's show, and I would love to have him on mine. So it will be done. It's getting bigger. I own some, and a lot of people are beginning to climb into it big time now because the government, it's one way of hedging your savings against rand depreciation, and it's another vehicle to keep it out of the government's hands, because the kleptomania is off the charts these days. Just when you think the ANC can't steal more, they just go nuts. There we go, Lance. Thank you. Meaning thick-headed lizard from Greek. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this. Pachycephalosaurus, I think. What's happening with Denel? I heard through the grapevine that they completely folded. I've heard some bad stories from Denel as well. They failed to pay salaries for months and months and months, got taken to court. They lost. It's a mess. Like, listen, what's happening to Denel is nothing new. What's happening to Denel is happening at Mango. It's happening at SAA. It happened at SA Express, which is now dead. It's happening at Eskom. It's happening everywhere. It's mismanagement, crisis management, and bullshit. And it's just terrible. My missus also hated guns when we first met 7 years ago. Got her to the range. Now she has 3 of her own. That's awesome, dude. Daniel, excellent work. And I'm the one cucking about the money. It's an interesting shift of roles, right? Interesting shift of roles. Is like the rest of humanity's useless trash. Boom. That's a heavy, heavy bomb you dropped there. I love it. Bitcoin got a bad name with other Ponzi schemes, but there's still a community. Okay, what he said. Thanks, Werner. Pachycephalosaurus. Donkey, Mareike. And guys, that brings us up to like 9:15. And I have some dishes I still need to wash. And the glass of wine I have to finish. But we're going to do this again this week. I'm going to organize some guests, but let's do another stream on either Wednesday or Thursday. Just us. Okay. Just you and me. And we're going to catch up on things I didn't catch up here. And I look forward to it. It's always fun hanging out with you. Just the last couple of things. Speaking of Bitcoin, what is the new money issue happening in February 2021? I'm not sure. I will go read up on this, and then I will revert about what I've read on Wednesday, if that helps. What can I say? You just got your character. That was punny. Thank you. Next video in Afrikaans. Yes, sir or ma'am. Misanthrope doesn't come with a gender, but I'm just covering all my bases. Good evening, Mr. Dembowski. Oh God, just as I'm about to leave, you have to arrive. A true South African hero. And yeah, I'm glad that you're busy giving the government all hell. Fantastic. Pachycephалus sore ass man. David Bossoff, Joe, Mega PC. That's actually not a bad call. Please do pop in to CHS on Sunday, Mr. Punisher. And yeah, and by the way, Howard, we need to get you on as a special guest at some time. Please send me a WhatsApp. Yes, Renier, I do occasionally respond to other people's WhatsApp. And we'll make a plan, and we can just sit down. You can smoke and I can drink, because I think then we've covered all the vices. Oh, jeepers, I'll have to gooi subtitles. YouTube, I could check. You have a wonderful evening, and Alan and everyone. And on that bombshell, I'm going to say cheers, and balalaika, and see you all again soon. Lekker aand.